Okay, so now we are on schedule to have a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie or series every single decade until the end of the world. Let's talk about this latest version, which is animated and is really good. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Before we get started, click on that red subscribe button and the notification bell. That way you know whenever I post a new piece of content. Okay, so original Ninja Turtles, live action movie, guys in suits, came out in the 90s. We had three of those films. We had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, TMNT 2 Secret of the Ooze, and then Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3. And then in the 2000s, like mid 2000s, we had TMNT, which was an animated reboot. I think Patrick Stewart voiced like one of the main characters, and it was supposed to set up like a new animated series of films. And after that one, I don't remember what the box office response to it was like. I saw it; it was fine. It was supposed to set up something new, and then it fizzled out, and we never got anything to continue off of that. The CGI was good, the story was fine, it was unremarkable. And then in the 2010s, we got the Michael Bay films. Platinum Dunes made two Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles films. The first one, just a straight reboot, and then the second one, a sequel to that film. Those films were widely ridiculed because the Turtles looked understandably hideous in that current CGI iteration, and the effects just didn't look great. The humor in it was fine, the story was okay. Megan Fox is just not a very good actress, so she kind of dragged the whole thing down. And those movies did fine and then disappeared into ether. And so now we're getting a Seth Rogen produced, and he voices Bebop in the movie too, but we're getting a Seth Rogen produced and essentially created. He's kind of the driving creative force behind this animated reboot of the series. That's essentially what this is. It's clearly here to lay out the ground rules and set up for a future sequel. And it does all of that really, really well. It's probably the best Turtles movie we've gotten since the original. I think something I love about the original TMNT from the 90s is that it's really dark and it doesn't shy away from that. And that movie's actually aged kind of well. It understands the relationship between Splinter and the Shredder, and it kind of like does a great job getting its hand around that lore. This new film discards a lot of that. It doesn't seem like that tie is really there based on where they go with the origin story. And this movie has most of the characters, I should say, that you know and love. It has, the four turtles: Leo, Raph, Donnie, and Michelangelo, Mikey. And it has April O'Neil, there's a race swap thing because it's 2023. Jackie Chan voices Splinter, and you have Bebop and Rocksteady. You have a couple of other like notable villains that are kind of there on the side, and I think this movie's pretty good. I really do. What I liked about it first is the animation looks fantastic. This movie looks tremendous. It's one of my favorite styles for any animated movie I have ever seen. This movie looks gorgeous on the big screen and is definitely worth seeing in the theater if you're a Turtles fan. It's also really funny, and the voice acting, especially from the four main characters, the Turtles, is really, really, really good. They nail all of their parts, and there's nothing not to love. They all have the right kind of personalities, and I really do love their work here. All of the actors overall are great. They're standouts. The other big standout is Jackie Chan as Splinter. He's really, really, really funny. He's got some of the best lines in the movie, and he's kind of a little bit different than the other versions of this character. He's a little bit of a pushover, but can be a badass when he needs to. And he's got a little bit more to him than previous versions of this character. The original and his relationship to the Shredder notwithstanding. The last version of these movies that we got, the Michael Bay movies, really they seem like they were really trying too hard to have fun. I think the second one did fare a little bit better in that regard. But this movie actually does have fun. And it's funny to hear Ice Cube play a huge mutant ninja fly called Superfly, who's the main villain in this. And yet I can't help but wonder, when are we going to get a on-screen version of the Shredder as good as the original? The original movie, the Shredder was like the bad guy. Clearly right up in front and awesome. Great portrayal of that particular character. We got him in the sequel, the whole Super Shredder thing, Vanilla Ice in that movie, Go Ninja Go, all that stuff. And then in the rest of the movies, we just didn't get a good version of him. In the animated reboot, they hinted at him at the very end, and that was it. They showed his helmet. And then in the Michael Bay ones, he was like this huge monstrosity of a man who donned like this ridiculous metallic exoskeleton exosuit with huge knife blades that he could throw and then use magnets to recall. It was all completely over the top and ridiculous in the first of the Michael Bay films. He was kind of sidelined in the second one in favor of Krang. And I thought those movies were big, dumb fun that weren't as fun as they thought they were. This movie is actually fun. It's like the perfect length. It's like an hour and 40 minutes. It does not overstay its welcome. And I really like it. So kudos to Rogen for making a really funny and engaging version of the Turtles. And I like that in this movie, they're teenagers, and they really double down on that. They don't know how to fight yet. They've actually never gotten into like a proper fight. And so what does it look like for them to ultimately start fighting crime and find their place in the world? And it's a really cool story. So I love this version of the movie. I really am excited to see what they do with the sequel. And maybe we'll finally get that awesome big screen version of the Shredder that we've all wanted. So thank you so much for checking out the video. If you liked it, found it helpful, I hope you would consider subscribing. You'd also like and share the video. That tells the powers that be that it's worth promoting. And hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you think of Mutant Mayhem. And I will see you next Wednesday at 9 a.m.